Disneyland just stuck it to Trump with what they did when he showed up in Hall of Presidents. After all these years of spitting on us conservatives, Disney is finally starting to get a taste of its own medicine. Liberal Walt Disney World's Hall of Presidents, which is currently closed since January 2017 in order to add a new President Donald Trump robot, was originally scheduled to reopen with the new president in time for the summer of 2017 vacation season. But because we all know our new president isn't about to put up with Disney's liberal agenda crap, the reopening has been pushed back to no earlier than the fall of 2017. Back since the sexually challenged Clinton administration in the 90s, the current commander-in-chief's robot has given a short speech during the play's finale. The president himself records this speech, and it is nonpartisan. It usually talks about the glory of America. But this time around President Trump, rightly so, isn't trusting the liberal Disney company to write the speech his robot will be saying. In an email to Disney, Trump's people replied that President Trump would be very happy to record the speech, but that they themselves would be writing it, without any input whatsoever from the Disney company. Good for them. It is rumored that the Disney company is treading very lightly here in order to not piss off President Trump and have him tweet out a boycott on everything Disney, which is way past due if you ask me. Although Walt Disney himself was a patriotic right-winger who did a lot to help our great nation during World War II and beyond, the company has taken a sharp left turn since his death in 1966. It is now mostly a propaganda company disguised as an entertainment medium that is putting a far left-wing agenda spin into everything it touches. PJ. Media reports. Not long into Walt Disney's latest animated moneymaker, Zootopia, many of my fellow audience members erupted into smug laughter and self-serving applause. This reaction was prompted by the filmmaker's swipe at America's red states. A bunny had just announced that she wanted to be the first bunny to serve on the Zootopia police force. Dressed in the uniform of blue-collar, red-state Americans and using a grammar challenge Southern accent, a fox mocks the bunny's dream. The sharp-witted bunny quickly makes the fox look like a fool. From the get-go, the filmmakers make it clear that certain segments of the population are worthy of scorn if they don't fall in lockstep with progressivism's plan Utopia. That movie's scene was so offensive I wanted to walk out, but my kids were with me. After the movie, over dinner, my 2 children and I discussed Zootopia and the implications of its naked, leftist didacticism. My 10-year-old daughter is fairly attuned to the absurdities around her, and she openly scoffed at the movie's premise that nothing transcendent binds us. According to Zootopia, we can be whomever and whatever we want, as long, of course, as that whomever and whatever doesn't violate the strictly defined parameters of this brave new world's ethics. And Zootopia's premise fails because it rejects the Bible's teaching about humans. One of the movie's main tenets is that biology is not determinative. Zootopia hammers that belief ad nauseum into the audience. This belief is one of the more obvious tentpoles of progressivism's desired utopian circus. And, this weird form of Gnosticism packaged as individualistic self-actualization stands in immediate contradiction to the left's other tentpole of evolutionary materialism. Progressivism's utopian circus tent relies on competing worldviews. In other words, to even enter their collapsed and suffocating tent, you're going to have to crawl on your belly and eat the dust of the ground. The notion that we are not determined by biology denies the wonderful reality that God created us as material beings, and then declared us good. For the record, God also created us as spiritual beings, which is why evolutionary materialism is also wrong. Humans are a wonderful synthesis of material and spiritual that death destroys. We were not created to have our souls and bodies ripped apart. In his book, The Christian Faith, A Systematic Theology for Pilgrims on the Way, theologian Dr. Michael Horton explains that human nature is not to be identified exclusively or even primarily with the soul. The real self is the whole self, body and soul,